What's going on, y'all? Just Haley here, and I am back again with another video. Now today's video is going to be for Frost, and the reason that I decided to do Frost is because honestly I just keep getting him for EDA and ETA, and it's a build that I really enjoy, a build that I find very fun, very simple, very easy, very comfortable, and every time I run him for EDA or ETA I get asked what the build is, so I figured I would just show you guys here today. It's a lot of fun, it's very easy. So as always, I do prioritize comfort over anything with my builds, and I say this to say that there's obviously going to be ways that you could probably optimize this out a little bit more if you wanted to sacrifice a little bit of comfort. Choose what's right for you. Find the way that's fun to play for you, and you're going to have more fun in the game. Go figure. So the really fun part about this is that there is some optimization options for you. There's answers to any of the EDA negatives. It's just really easy, really simple, really fun, and I really enjoyed it. But it also keeps you able to defend those defense objectives very easily as well with your Frost bubble. You can keep that up pretty simply with Frost, and that's going to make it so that those defense objectives, whether it is the ETA defense with Flare or the mirror defense on the EDA, both of those are going to be options for you here. And keep in mind, if you guys don't know what those are, EDA is the Elite Deep Archimedia, which is in the Cavia region in the Sanctum. And then ETA is the Elite Temporal Archimedia. That's going to be part of the Hex quests and stuff like that. So the 1999 zone, Halvania. So that's where you're going to want to go for those if you haven't done those before. Obviously, those frames are random. But if you do get Frost, it's a really simple option in my opinion, because Frost is just so good at any of those mission types, gives overguard to the team, overguard to himself, and can protect defense objectives, all while dishing out a ton of damage and staying just ridiculously tanky. It's really cool. As always, remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. It helps me out a ton. Thank you so much for doing that. It really does help me out. Aside from that, let's get right into the build, and we're going to start with Subsumes. The subsume we're going to be talking about is going to be Nourish. Now, Nourish is really cool. What Nourish allows you to do is get your energy to be very convenient, very easy, very simple with Frost. Frost typically doesn't have a lot of energy. Now, you can augment that with a few different things, but especially on those energy drain type modifiers or the modifiers where you have 75% less energy, those are going to be tricky. So especially with the high cost of the 4, and that's how you get your overguard, that can be a little bit sus. And for that reason, I really like Nourish. It makes the energy feel really good. You can see in the gameplay here, my energy is almost always topped off, and that again feels exceptionally easy, exceptionally fun, and just really convenient. That's why I really like Nourish. But if you don't want to do Nourish, there's two others that I do enjoy. One being Breach Surge, just for the ability to cascade some damage effects out, as well as a little bit of a defensive tool. And I take that over the 2. And then the other thing that I do like sometimes is the Roar, just for the extra damage buff on the weapons and stuff like that. It can feel really good. And the status damage increase is going to feel really good. Plus, damage increase on the abilities isn't unwanted. It's not exceptional, but it is okay. And that kind of is nice. All of these I put over the 2 instead of over the 1, just for the ability to pop the bubbles if I should want to. I typically won't, and I typically don't, but it is an option that I tend to like to keep when I can. Now, Subsumes out of the way, I'm going to be showcasing the one build that we have today, and that build is right here. So for this build, we are going to be running Growing Power, which is a complete optional slot here. Run whatever you want. I like Growing Power because it's a little bit greedy. It feels really good. Extra strength is always going to feel more better. I also do like running the Molt Augmented. However, I will tell you that that is flexible too for the extra power strength. If you instead want to run Battery, you certainly can, though I would personally recommend running it with Archon Flow for 2 reasons. One, because we are running Energize, so when we get those extra health orbs, it's going to feel good. Even though it's only every 10 seconds, it's just nice to have. Why not? You know what I mean? Not the best Archon mod for sure, but it does work really well in Frost. The other thing that you're going to be able to get out of the Energize is the consistent energy regen, because even with Flow, we're only at 427 energy, and that doesn't feel great, especially considering there is a modifier in EDA and ETA to nuke your energy by 75%. If that happens, you're going to feel really bad, so do remember to replace your Augmented with Battery in those cases. Battery you can get from the Ascension tile set Brutus on Uranus. Outside of that, we are going to be running the overextended and the stretch for more range. That feels really good. You sacrifice some power strength, but you don't care too much. One overguard is enough for overguard gating and status immunity. The other thing you're going to be getting is more than enough strength out of this to give you your full armor strip. We then run for the strength, the Blind Rage, Umbrella Intensify combination to make you feel really, really comfy there. And then I do Power Drift as well because why not? You don't need the extra effect to remove the knockdowns, but the extra strength is really good. You could instead run Cunning Drift for a little bit of range if you wanted. It's up to you. I do run Streamline here as well, just for a little bit of efficiency to make things feel a little more comfy, a little more fun, a little more spammy. That is optional. If you don't want to run that, you could run something like Reach. Augur Reach will give you a little bit more range, which is going to feel really good. You could also run something for a little bit more strength if you wanted to, maybe even a Transient Fortitude for more strength by far, but sacrifice a little bit of duration. The reason I keep the duration where it is mostly for nourish comfort and not having to spam it all the time, but it's also for those missions where your duration is lowered on EDA and ETA. Remember, this is the build that I use specifically for that content for the most part. I'll take them into anything, but it is mainly made for that content. Overall, what you're getting out of this is a very spammy, very comfy, very fun frame that can just kind of spam through anything that they need to. Do remember, again, you need to make your substitutions for the different modifiers from EDA and ETA. If you're not going to get enough energy, you're going to want to make sure that you're substituting that in some way. I like battery. It's going to stack up with the passive really well. Plus 315 armor is going to be enough at the very beginning just to give you a little bit of extra armor. So especially as you start getting those freezes off, it might be a little uncomfortable at first. Maybe you'll have to change out Blind Rage for Transient Fortitude. That kind of stuff is going to be optional too. But it does feel really good and it is really spam proof so that you can keep your energy up, especially with the ability to run Arcane Energize to keep that going as well. All of it works really well together to continue to create a very comfortable, very fun build. They can also weapon platform very easily just by freezing enemies and getting the extra crit damage that those freezes provide, but also the armor strip is going to feel really good. It's just a very comfortable, very fun frame. You can see that my life support is always pretty well topped off, and a big part of that is also just because of the weapon pairings that I have here. I was messing around with the EF Jupiter, but I didn't really care for it. It's a little too single target for me. It's a fun little weapon from time to time, but didn't really care for it here. So mostly what I'm going to be using is the Okina and the Sikaris. The Sikaris is one of my favorite weapons in general, and the Okina, same, but the Okina also has the synergy that you're going to get with it, which is the ability to freeze enemies. Freezing more enemies on Frost, why not? I do run a gas melee influence Okina. It's really fun, it's really powerful. Use it while you can, and it synergizes so well with the ability to increase the status damage and the status duration from the Incarnon, which I'm going to show you on screen now. For these, you want to be using the Synergist Surety, the Archon Reach, but you can also use Celerity for that second one if you want to, and Alchemy of War. That is going to be your build for the Incarnon version of the Okina Prime. And then for the actual build of the Okina Prime, what you want to be going in for is something like this. You could always swap the Prime Fever Strike for a 60-60 Toxin, giving you that gas electric. It's going to be very strong. Upping your status even more would be good too, but pick what you want to do. Honestly, I just really like this. Opportunities Reach, you could also change out if you wanted to. I just really like the flexibility of the Tennokai there. The Riven that I'm using is pretty much a 60-60 heat mod. It's like 60% heat, 60% status, and 60% crit damage just kind of added into that too. I just really like that as well. It's a nice little option and it works really well with what we're getting out of Frost here too. So all that's pretty cool. I've shown that build before, so I didn't want to focus on it too much. As far as weapon recommendations for Frost, honestly, he can use just about anything because you're going to be buffing it up with Nourish. You're also going to be buffing up the ability for him to deal damage because enemies won't have armor. It's going to feel really good too. And they're not going to be moving, so getting your Incarnon headshots is very simple. That's fun as well. Use anything really that you want here and you're going to have a lot of fun with it. Just pick your poison, figure out what weapons you enjoy, and you're going to make them even stronger with Frost. Lower end missions, you're just going to be able to cleave through things with the 4 for the most part. You won't even have to recast it too often, but higher end missions, keeping up your overguard becomes a big thing, so make sure that you have enough energy and all that kind of stuff, and you're going to be good to go. You're pretty much going to be able to cleave through things with just about any weapon that you want to run. One of my favorites is actually the Comb as a primary. I think it's a lot of fun. The Sibaris works really well as well, especially with the Incarnon. The Tenant Galaxian is really cool too. I really enjoy that for Frost. All of these are just little fun options, and they're a lot of fun to be able to do and use with Frost. Also, I totally forgot to show you guys the Archon Shards that I'm running, so let's show you those too. I'm getting a little bit of ability strength out of this, I'm getting a lot of cast speed, and then I'm getting an equilibrium effect. This is purely for the comfort. 2 cast speed makes the 4 feel really, really good as opposed to really, really slow. 1 equilibrium just enables an effect that's going to help with that energy need in case you ever need it. And then the strength is just going to always feel really nice, getting you up above that 200%. Upping the amount of overguard that you're doing. But if you want to do something else, maybe you want an extra equilibrium, you totally could. It's up to you. Do what you got to do and do what feels right. I really like this. It was a nice little combo and it worked really well with the multi-augmented that I run, especially on those longer missions. If I ever do take him to something like, I don't know, a conjunction survival or a cascade or something along those lines where I might actually want a little bit more strength into my kit. For pets, which I always do like to discuss, you can realistically run whatever you want. Honestly, I really like the Taxon and the Sentinels are always going to be really fun. You're going to be able to give them some extra viral damage, which is going to feel really good. But for this gameplay, just to be able to showcase a, I don't know, like a worst case scenario, I'm running the Vulpaphyla. Why am I running Vulpaphyla? It spreads viral, and that's nice, but it's not actually going to be that useful since I'm using Nourish. It also gives me an opportunity to show you my Vulpaphyla build, though, because I haven't shown that in a bit, so let's show you guys the Vulpaphyla build that I'm running here. Now my Vulpaphyla is mostly going to be maximized around spreading the viral quills. We're going to be using Prime Animal Instinct for some utility, Prime Pack Leader for the survivability, Hunter Recovery in case you're running a health tank, but you don't need to do that on Frost if you don't want to. We're running Synth Deconstruct to create some health herbs all over the place. We're going Momentous Bond and Tenacious Bond. Those are our bond mods here. Momentous is going to be able to increase the cooldown recovery for the Panzer. So whenever they do go down, they'll get back up really quickly because of the Subsumes that you kill. We're going with the Tenacious Bond for the extra damage because our crit is going to be really nice there. Link Fiber, Link Vitality. It's nice, but you could also just go with the actual vitality and fiber mods if you wanted to do that instead. And then I do go fetch because obviously we want our vacuum effect. Without it, life does not feel complete. For the claws, as always, I'm going with that Bite, the Maul, the Hunter Synergy, the Swipe, the Precision Conditioning, the Magnetic Claws, the Cull of the Weak, and the Burning Claws. This will get you a nice Magnetic Heat Slash. I go Frenzied Posture, but you could also go Assassin Posture if you wanted to. This isn't really going to matter. Your pet's not going to be doing that much because we're not using bond mods to spread out statuses and stuff like that. We're mostly doing this as a way to make the pet kind of function with the claws and hit pretty hard. It's really fun, really easy, really simple. We're mostly using it in a way to get ourselves some extra damage out from the pet, but it's not really a focal point for us. There's a lot of stuff you could do with Vulpaphyla to, you know, benefit off of the larval forms and stuff like that, but I tend not to like that. It's up to you. As for the rest of the stuff, honestly, again, Frost can work with any pet that you want to bring, so just bring whatever your favorite pet is and you're going to be fine. If you want to put on a loot doubling mod, you could obviously do that too. I would personally recommend taking off one of the survivability mods, the Link Armor or the Link Vitality, and just relying on the extra health that you get from the overhealing from the pack leader, or if you are crazy, you could take out the pack leader and go with the extra resource boost from there. That's also an option too. All in all, really, Frost is a super complete, super fun frame that's been reworked a couple times now, and while I don't really like some of his abilities, I think his 1 is a little bit I think his 3 is a little bit unless you're doing a defense mission. It has its place, and that's fine. He's a really fun frame. He works really, really well in a lot of content, especially that endgame content like the EDA and ETA type content. Super, super easy to play, super easy to spam, super easy to just cleave through that very, very, very quickly, and I really, really do like that. I've gotten him a few times now on ETA with defense and without defense, and it's just always a really easy, no-brainer option that I know I can grab, take any weapon, and just kind of succeed. It's pretty fun. EDA becomes a little bit more questionable, but for the most part, why bring anything else if Frost is an option? Because Frost is just going to do everything very easily, very simply, and without a lot of effort. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that there is that crit augment that a lot of people seem to like for Frost. I don't like it, and I will tell you straight up the reason that I don't like it is because the crit augment for Frost, you need to freeze enemies to get. All of that is going to do is give me 200%. This is a 200% like a mod crit and crit damage on essentially basic enemies. It's not going to work on acolytes, it's not going to work on demolist, and it's not going to work on the enemies like the necrobacs. At that point, I really don't care. It doesn't do anything for me, it doesn't really add much to me, and the only thing I'd be able to sacrifice from this is Streamline, probably. maybe a little range if I wanted to, but I don't really want to sacrifice the range because I like where that range is right now. It feels so comfortable. With all of that in mind, it does put me in this position where I don't really want to sacrifice anything to bring what ultimately isn't a very effective mod for the main things that you would want that damage for. Basic enemies are going to be dying and melting anyway, so you don't need the extra damage there, and you can't full freeze the main enemies that you actually care about. With all of that in mind, why even bother with it? It's not enough of an effect for it to matter. It's not flat crit. If it was flat crit, I could maybe understand it for things like dedicants, but it's just not, so why bring it? All in all, that does about wrap up our Frost video for this week. If you guys liked the video, please again remember to like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. It helps me out a ton. I really liked Frost. He was a lot of fun, and he was a really enjoyable frame to play. I've been enjoying him in EDA, ETA, and even just some relics when I just want to bring someone cool to chill with. Pun absolutely intended. Outside of that, y'all, I've been Just Haley. You've been just amazing. And remember that until next time, I love your faces. Bye.